Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is LettucePlate. We are playing some more Teamfight Manager 2. Really excited to get back into it. I went away and I'm recording this on a new day. Went and watched the Worlds games. Pretty exciting first day of Swiss stage at Worlds this year. Won't say anything else in case people are watching this without seeing the results, but pretty exciting first day. But yeah, we're looking to get back into some Teamfight Manager 2. We have a new champion, Pole Warrior. I was mentioning at the end of last episode that Pole Warrior is extremely strong. One of the best characters in my opinion. So we're going to look to integrate Pole Warrior as much as we possibly can. We are on blue side, it seems, so we'll go ahead and ban our typical Executioner ban. The AI goes ahead with its Cavalry ban. For playing Pole Warrior, what's something we don't want to give over? Maybe Archer. Archer is from my experience, the best ranged character in the game. So if you're picking a team of a lot of assassins and bruisers and stuff, typically good to kind of get rid of something that can abuse, range and kiting pretty well. We're gonna go ahead and first pick Pole Warrior. They lock in Ogre and Fighter. We'll go ahead and get Ninja. They add a Berserker, and we're looking for a bot lane now. Let's go ahead and go with... I don't think I want a Gunner with Ogre and Fighter both have CC spells, so I think maybe we're going to go with something plus Monk. Let's find a melee unit. I'm thinking... We haven't tried Magic Knight out. Let's get a Magic Knight bot lane, and we can go Monk for our support character. I'm alright with that. They lock in the Swordsman. These are the lanes they're going to. I think what I'm gonna do is put our Ninja in the top lane. Ogre is extremely slow. His movement speed is one of the slowest in the game, and Ninja does really well against characters that have slow movement speed because he can hit the Shuriken more often, means more damage. He can chase them down if they're low HP. Just a good setup for good laning phase for Ninja if he's into a slow character. I like having Pole Warrior in the mid lane most of the time. He can kind of do everything except support, so it doesn't really matter too much where you put him, but I do like having him in the mid lane, specifically because he can go untargetable and dodge like ganks and stuff like that, so kind of nice to have. We have the wave clear with Magic Knight in the bot lane. Monk is like a melee support, engage and healing character like Tarek and League of Legends, so not looking too bad. All right. For early game tactics, I'll leave it off. I typically don't set anything for this because if you set, like, for example, if I set top dive as a tactic, my mid laner or like one of my bot lane characters would run all the way up to kind of sit at the tower, and they would lose like experience and gold, and like the enemy team will push the tower and stuff. So I typically don't like having an early game tactic with the way it works right now. But yeah, let's go ahead and for split push, I think I just want one split pusher. Let's set our bot lane split push to be our Ninja. Ninja typically works better in like smaller fights anyway. He can kind of get bursted down in 4v4s because the way his like coding or his behavior works is he kind of just throws his shuriken out, and if it hits it, he automatically will like dash in, and it doesn't really account for there being a bunch of enemies around. He'll always just kind of throw himself into the enemy team. So I like setting him up where he's in a position where he's like away from the general team fight. And sometimes he does join, around the major objectives and everything. Mid-late fight tendency. We're going to go... We'll leave it on aggressive for now. For our top laner, we're going to do aggressive, assassin, pressure for lane pressure. In the mid lane, aggressive. We'll do initiator for him. Actually, we're gonna have two initiators bot lane, so we can set him to assassin. That just means he comes from the kind of the sides more often, not so much standing with the rest of the team. So I think that's fine. Do we want pressure or do we want other lane? I think we can set our mid laner to intervene in other lanes. I think that's fine. And then we'll do double aggressive initiator with pressure in the bot lane. So 4 aggressive once again with 4 melee characters. I think that's just fine. No problems with that. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. They have a 4 melee comp as well. Should be a bloody one, so let's go ahead and get into the game. Alrighty. They do have a pretty good team fighting team themselves, but what I'm relying on is getting lane advantages, especially on Ninja. Mid lane, both characters are pretty strong, so... Oh! Pretty early aggression already from the Ninja, getting the Ogre down to 1 HP. He has to recall. We will get an XP advantage there. Looks like their Berserker was looking for something around mid lane, but he's back in the bottom lane. Notably, they set their Swordsman on support, so he's not going to be getting the last hits with his good wave clear. Really close fight in bot lane. They turn the camera back up to top. Ninja's low HP. Okay. Lots of heavy trading. No one's died yet, though. 14 CS for our Magic Knight. Really, really good. I wish the CS gave a little bit more gold relative to kills and towers. Especially towers, I think, are a little bit heavy on the gold. But there is the first kill of the game. A solo kill for Ninja. Just what we were looking for. Some more aggression bot lane. The Magic Knight AoE hits. The heal comes in from Monk, and they are able to take out the Swordsman. So an early kill in the bot lane as well. We're looking good in this early game. Noxious finds a Shuriken onto iBoy. He's still only level 1 in the top lane, which leads to an easy kill for him. Level 3 with that ultimate was able to get the solo kill yet again, and I have a feeling it's gonna be a big snowball up in the top lane. There's a huge level lead already. Took a tower shot there, so he's gonna have to recall most likely. Okay. Some roaming going on from their bot lane. There's that ult move from the Pole Warrior. Pole Warrior really is actually quite weak, level 1 and 2. It doesn't really do that much. The ult is really the power of the character. It looks very much like a Fizz E, where he goes untargetable and then deals AoE around him on the ground. Ninja is going aggressive once again, gets another solo kill, 3-0 in the top lane for Ninja. There's just nothing the Ogre can do to get away from him. Ogre really weak in the early game. He has a scaling ability and kind of relies on tank items and fighting items to kind of give him his survivability. So before he has items, he really just is susceptible to being all-end. Alright. Oh my goodness, Ninja's going all the way towards their fountain. Another kill onto iBoy, a couple of autos on the Relic. Misses the Shuriken onto the Swordsman. I think they will be able to defend, maybe? Is he just going to end the game in 2 minutes? Oh my goodness. A 3-minute game. 6 kills for the Ninja. Just completely steamrolls the top lane matchup. A 4v4 game over in less than 3 minutes. That was a bit absurd, I'm not going to lie. Alright, well, I'm glad we won. That was pretty insane. There really was one character in that entire game, and it was the Ninja in the top lane. Alright, training operates by assigning specific programs, okay? Yeah, so this is a typical feature in most of these, I'll call them sports games, but really management games, is you can set your players to go through mechanics, training, tactics. You can set them to stream, and even actually if I select it, it'll actually tell you the expected effect of what your training should do. So if I do mechanics and game understanding, you know, there's like skill dodge, control speed for the mechanics. Game understanding, I would assume would be like, you know, prediction, judgment, monster kills, things like that. So it actually tells you how much your stats should go up. So it says like 3 to 4 on this stat per year. And your player, I didn't even notice these numbers before. I never even really stopped to like look at how much those were actually affecting things. If I did a bunch of mechanic training, yeah, see, look, 11, yeah, wow, okay, 12 to 13 a year. So you could really like target your team's weaknesses, and 11 to 12 points a year. You could have a player that's in like the 50s for like 3 seasons or 3 years and turn them into a really elite player if this growth is just linear. Like if the players don't have a set potential level where they stop growing in their attributes, you could turn like mediocre players into really, really excellent players over the course of a save. So that's kind of exciting to think about. I'm sure there'll be more like nuance to how that works. I'm hoping players do have some kind of cap, even if it is like a soft cap and not something where they just hit a certain rating and stop growing. And if they have bad form, I hope there's some kind of regression system as well, or with age, which doesn't really make sense in an esports game, but in most sports games, once you get to your mid-30s and stuff, you start losing your stats and everything. All right, newly added champion, Jiangxi, maybe, is how I'm going to go with the pronunciation of that one. Sorry if someone knows how this should be pronounced, but I'm not too familiar with how that should be said. This unit used to function differently in the previous game. I'll go ahead and hover over his ability. So his basic ability summons a smaller version of himself that charges to an enemy and attacks and then vanishes. So maybe think of this sort of maybe like a Wukong or Shaco clone ability, like from League of Legends. And then his ult is slam an enemy to stun them for half a second and deal physical damage and restore 100 health. So he has a half a second stun on a 4-second cooldown. If we look at other characters that have something similar to this, Ogre has a 1-second stun on a 3-second cooldown. Fighter has a 1-second stun on a 5-second cooldown that's available from level 1, not even from level 3. So the CC really isn't quite as strong as some of the other characters. This unit used to have a revive similar to what the old Aatrox had in League of Legends, where if his ability, it had a cooldown, but let's say if this ability was off cooldown, if you killed him, he would regen to full HP and just be back and fighting again. He was really, really strong in the last game. He was my favorite tank character in the last game. It does look like he's a tank character given his base stats of 1200 HP in this game as well. But I've only seen him a handful of times, and he hasn't really impressed me too much. So we're gonna not, super prioritize him for now. Let's go ahead and let's try something else. Let's try like a full. I'm just gonna grab as many characters that have CC as I can. So I'm gonna prioritize getting fighter first. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna ban Pole Warrior this game. The AI does like selecting Pole Warrior as well. They do realize how strong he is. Let's I've been playing Ninja every game, so let's ban Ninja. We're gonna select Fighter. Let's see, they go with Jiangxi and Archer. Okay, no problem. Let's, so the next kind of two characters I'm looking at are Ogre and Monk that both have CC. Let's go ahead and take the Ogre. They take, Executioner, which I was kind of hoping to maybe get him, but that's okay. We'll take Monk, and I think Ice or no, we'll go with Knight. We'll go with Knight. So let's get a Knight and Monk in our bot lane. And I want my fighter going up against the Archer. He'll have a better time faring in that 1v1. Ogre is also good into tanks because when he deals damage, he stacks max HP. So I think these lane assignments are good. I think this is how I'm gonna keep it. Having Knight as the bot lane character, it's gonna be a really low economy bot lane. I think what I might struggle with this game is having enough damage later. But I'm hoping that by Executioner kind of like hooking in a bunch of characters that have CC, that we can just kind of CC chain and focus down one character instead of like resetting in a fight like Ninja kind of was doing in the past couple games. So that's gonna be the strategy for us. Let's we're not gonna have any split pushing. Fight tendency is gonna be passive, and the reason for that is I want them to be grouped up as much as possible. I want them to be together as 3 or 4 champions as much as possible. I think a dive might actually work. Let's put mid dive as an early game tactic so that we can try and CC down the Archer and kind of get kills on them. We're gonna go with passive Initiator for our top lane. In the mid lane, we'll go with aggressive Initiator and Pressure. And then for both of our bot lane, we'll go aggressive Initiator, but we'll go with helping out other lanes. We want them grouping up, trying to kill, trying to gank people, trying to kill people with CC. We'll leave Ogre. Ogre, I think, is one of the best characters in the game to have on passive, because his lane is really weak, but he scales pretty well into the late game. So this is what we're going to go with. Looks good to me. Let's see if we cooked up a strategy that's effective. I'm worried that we might not have enough damage, but Fighter, given a solo lane and solo levels, if he gets some kills, can actually do quite a bit of damage. So hopefully he'll be the carry we're looking for. Archer is a rough lane for him, I think, but let's see how this goes. We're fighting in the bot lane. A taunt goes down onto the Magic Knight. The hook from Executioner misses. It's a close fight. Let's see if this next hook hits. It does. Our Monk won't have his CC ability until level 3. It is his ultimate, so he's kind of just healing for now. But it will allow us to stay in lane a little bit longer. Alright, looks like we're getting poked out under tower. Archer takes tower aggro with a hit from Fighter. Will lead to the kill. A bit too aggressive from Archer there. Got caught up under our tower. Mispositioned there a little bit. So a good start. Good to get an early lead in that lane. We won't bleed out experience. It looks like our Ogre is getting kind of bullied in the top lane. Having to recall a couple times early. Let's hope he can kind of stick around in that lane a little better. Remember, going down in CS isn't the worst thing in the world. Kills and towers are way more important than CS. Oh, so close. We get the taunt onto Executioner. Will they be able to get a kill? I don't think they will until they have both CC spells in that bot lane. I don't think they'll be able to threaten lethal too much unless the opponent overstays. Ogre finally able to hit level 2 in that top lane. Here's a roam from our mid laner. Our Fighter's heading bot lane. Does opt to disengage. The wave is at our tower, so our bot lane wasn't in position. A stun onto the Executioner. Taunted into 3 people. One more hit will do it, and they do get the kill. That's kind of what the strategy looks like, guys. The team comp. A lot of CC abilities. They can use them one after the other. By the time one person's done being CC'd, the cooldown will refresh. There will be a huge chain of stuns. Fighter did go down to Archer when he went back to mid lane. Unfortunately, Jackie Love does go down. There is some scrapping in the top lane. Both of these characters don't do too much damage. I think their top laner does a little bit more. The Shy gets caught under the tower. Shy, I should say, not the Shy. I've been watching too much Worlds recently with the Shy playing. I think this Shy is named... Oh my gosh, they're on our Nexus. Their Archer is hitting our Relic. A dash from our Fighter, trying to get some damage. Wasn't able to land the stun on him. There's the stun. One more hit should do it, and Jackie Love does secure the kill. They already took the mid tower, though. It is a bit troubling. Another kill under tower. I'm telling you guys, they push under the tower, they get CC'd, and they just die. The tower does an insane amount of damage in this game, just like in most MOBAs. So if they do get CC chained under tower, it is pretty lethal for them. Their Executioner is only level 2. Our Fighters should be able to maybe secure this kill. There's the dash coming off cooldown once again. 4-1 on the Fighter. He's level 6. A great start for him. He could get kited a little bit by the Archer here. Archer doing a lot of damage. Ogre very slow moving. Might just get chased down. They don't chase him under tower. They are going to start the Morguard. Oh my gosh, he doesn't take a recall. He walks back in and dies. It looks like our Knight might be getting solo killed in the bot lane. Oh, not a good look. I have a feeling they're going to get this objective. Let's see if Beryl can maybe steal it. Maybe be the hero. Nope, not to be. They get the buff, which isn't looking good for us with an open Nexus. We have champions spawning in 4 seconds. They're going to skip the wave and just go straight for our Relic, and that is going to be the game. Really, really unfortunate. I think we were doing okay, getting a lot of kills in the laning phase, but we just... some bad decision-making around the Morguard, and it kind of just... we fell apart and kind of threw at the end of the game there. Too many deaths in quick succession led to a quick Morguard secure for the enemy team into a final push. A big, really quick gold swing for the enemy team. This archer went crazy with the poke under tower and everything. Even though we were able to kill her twice in the laning phase, she pushed down the tower super fast, and we don't have wave clear anywhere on our team really. So I think that led to a bit of our downfall, was them getting that first tower so early in the game. But it wasn't bad. I think it was a pretty close game. Just kind of a little bit of a choke at the end. But guys, it is time. We're ready to play 5v5 matches for the first time. We do get a jungle role added to the game, and here are the neutral mobs between the lanes added to the game. Really interesting. One of the things I wasn't quite able to get a full grasp on was some of the jungle instructions and which characters like to take the jungle camps instead of leaving them to go join fights and stuff a lot of the time. It seems really finicky. Some champions will clear better than others. We'll get into that a little bit more, but pretty excited to get into the jungle role. There is a new champion, Gambler. This champion is not too influential in my opinion. Very average. He's kind of an ADC. His whole gimmick is that before he attacks someone, he rolls a dice, and based on what the dice number is how many times he attacks the enemy character. Kind of a weird ability. He was in the last game as well, but I don't think he's too exceptionally strong or anything. I haven't really seen him too much. I've only played him once or twice. I don't think the enemy has ever played him that I've been since I've been playing the demo, but we'll see. All right, we get our jungler Puff is added to the starting lineup. Let's go ahead and get into it. We're into a 5v5 draft. Finally, super excited for this. Potential jungle characters are mostly bruisers. It sounds kind of lame, but what I will say, at least once, I think maybe for this first game even, I want to try it. I've seen Archer be an excellent jungler, one of the best junglers characters in the game. She just kills the mobs so fast. Very good 1v1 fighter, as we saw around the Morgard in the last game, where she kind of can just kite, go in and out of fights, poke down melee champions, and if she's not gap closed on with assassins and CC, she just has some of the best damage in the entire game. So let's go ahead and get into this draft. Let's ban Executioner, I think, maybe. And if I'm not going to first pick Pole Warrior, I'll ban Pole Warrior. Okay, let's take the Archer. They do take Jiangxi and Fighter. I didn't think the Jiangxi bullied my Ogre in the last game a little bit, but I didn't think it was, like, too influential. We'll add a Ninja to our comp. And... Berserker, they do have a lot of melee stuff. Berserker is good. We haven't played Lancer recently. Let's go ahead and add a Berserker. Berserker can be played top bot or support, probably in the jungle as well. Alright, and there's a full 4 melee, 4 bruiser team comp. Berserker was a excellent choice in that case. What do we want? We can take a solo laner. I don't want a pyro with the amount of mobility this team has. Maybe a gunner is an option. I think I want to take gunner and put the gunner wherever the Jiangxi is. There's also Magic Knight. I think I want to take Monk again. 60 movement speed. What do these characters have? Oof, way more move. I thought Gunner was faster. Does he have abilities that speed him up? From level 3, each attack increases movement speed. There you go. So one of the best kiters in the game. Let's go ahead and try him out. Not sure how this is going to go. Monk. if I'm assuming I'm going to be playing Berserker bot lane, I think Monk is a good choice. So let's go with Monk as our support. They go with an Ogre top lane. So we're going to go ahead and put our Ninja against the Ogre again. That worked out super well for us in the last game. We'll go Berserker. Do we want Berserker? I guess... Yeah, we'll go Berserker in the mid lane to face against the Lancer. Because when the Lancer dashes in, Berserker will be in melee range and be pretty effective, I think. We'll try out the Archer in the jungle, Gunner in the bot lane to fight against the Jiangshi and Swordsman. There's no CC in that lane. Actually, Jiangshi's ult is CC, but it's very short duration. So I think this is a good setup. I like the lane assignments that we have. Let's go into it. For the early game tactics, let's see, they have a fighter jungle. This game is definitely going to be all about the jungle. I think top lane I want to leave on an island, and then the rest of the map I think is going to be playing around the jungle. So let's do early jungle invasion. And then for split pushing, we'll leave bot lane for our ninja. I like setting this assignment wherever, if I have a ninja in top lane or mid lane, I like setting them up to split push in the bot lane. Mid to late fight tendency is definitely going to be passive with the amount of melee champions and mobility that they have. For Noxious, we're going to go aggressive, assassin, pressure. Alright, these are the jungle tactics over here on the right-hand side. They are different than the laning assignments. They're all of the details here that you can put in are unique. So there's jungling focused or gank focused, and then you can select gank tendency. So what I've found is I really like leaving this on jungling focused almost every time. If you put it on gank focused, a lot of time what they'll do is they'll kill like one camp or maybe two camps in the early game, and then they'll just sit in a bush and maybe like not do anything if the enemy team isn't like pushed up super far and super susceptible for a gank. And especially on a character that doesn't have CC, like Archer, I definitely want to go with jungle focus. This will make them kill camps more, they'll get more levels, get more gold. Yeah, I think they just end up being stronger in the game if you select jungle focused. But yeah, teamfight role is going to be backline for our Archer. Gank tendency, I want her to get into the jungle, take as many of the enemy camps as possible, so we're going to select counter jungle as our tendency rather than ganking the actual lanes themselves. So that's what we're going to go with. In the mid lane, we have Berserker, aggressive initiator, jungle intervention, and my bot lane are both going to be set to jungle intervention as well. I think... Is it worth setting... I don't think it's worth setting my ADC to passive in this game. We're going to go ahead and set... we'll put Gambler on mid line. He is very short range, and he does like autoing a lot, being in auto range a lot, rather than kind of standing really, really far back, because he wants to stack his ability and get a bunch of movement speed. So this is what we're going to go with, guys. Let's see how this goes. Hoping for a good solo performance from our top laner again against Ogre. That is a good matchup for Ninja. And then the rest of the map will be playing around the jungle. Let's check it out. A lot of the times I like selecting the camera to hover over the jungler to kind of see what the decision making is like given the instructions that we give for them. So they do kill the camps quite quickly here. Where are we heading? Where are we heading? This is... I set the instructions to be jungle focused. So I was hoping that they went for the camps here more often than fighting the lanes. Okay, we're back to taking CS. We do have one more camp taken than their jungle. We'll set back to auto camera. So the full clear is done. There is a gank onto the top lane, but Ninja might just turn this around and kill the Lancer. He's going for the Ogre too, who is only level 1 still. He leveled up from killing the Lancer, got his ultimate, and used it under tower to kill the Ogre. A double kill in the top lane for Ninja. He is just a crazy character, especially in the early game, man. Alright, there is a 3v2 happening down here in the bot lane. Our mid laner hacking away at their bot lane. Another kill for the Ninja. This matchup just seems to be insanely skewed in his favor. Lots of harassment here. Archer with a solo kill onto the enemy mid laner. Really good start for our players here. Let me check what some of the ratings are for the enemy. So the enemy has good players in the 70s and 80s. They're not a pushover team. So this is an excellent start for us. Wasn't quite expecting it. We do have some low health bars in the jungle here. Let's see if we're punished for this. Their swordsman is going to take a recall. Back to farming for our archer. Ninja back at it. Going crazy. Tower diving. Drops tower aggro with the ult. Does go down to the 2v1. Again, guys, there is no shutdowns in this game. So it is just an even gold trade there. 300 gold for 300 gold. Alright, their fighter is on a jungle camp. It looks like we might invade. He gets the camp. Our Berserker's caught out here by some CC. It looks like he might go down, and he does. And they do invade, take one of our jungle camps. We are stuck under tower with low health bars here. They are going to go for the dive. 4 versus 1, no chance there. It looks like we went 1 for 1 again in top lane. Or no, that was just the tower killed us. I guess the ogre didn't even get a hit on our Ninja there, but he did die to the tower. Very, very bloody game. More than 11 kills it's going to look like before 3 minutes, as our Berserker really struggling in this game. This Berserker does scale really well with levels, guys. By the time he gets level 6 and level 7 is really where he kind of turns it up, but hopefully he won't be too far out of the game with a gold deficit by that point. The enemy team here did seem to turn around that early gold lead that we had. But we do have a lot of scaling characters on our team. Oof. Our bot lane only level 3 and level 2. Our mid lane only level 3 as well. It looks like Ninja is getting involved in the game. We are past 3 minutes, so it is that time in the game where Ninja will be set to split push bot lane. So it looks like he's going to go ahead and switch lanes. They have 5 people grouped up in mid, really going hard on sieging this tower. We have a lot of low health bars. 4 low health bars. They are positioning around the Morgard. Another solo kill for Ninja. Going crazy. We need this guy to kind of bridge the early game into the late game so a lot of our characters can get their level assignments. We're actually starting the objective. Not sure about this one. I think the enemy will be stronger in a 5v5, but we peel off, commit to the fight, get 1 kill. It is a 5v3 right now. Their Lancer dashes in. The wrong decision. Berserker and Ninja just holding this front line so well. Monk is going to offer a lot of useful heals. Ninja isolating this Jiangxi. Isn't able to find the kill. The shuriken hits. The ult is coming off cooldown. Maybe 1 or 2 more hits. There it is. Gets the kill. It looks like our swordsman was able to get a kill on our mid laner. Our Berserker went down. Our Ninja really low HP, but we do get the objective. Even if he dies here, I think that's perfectly fine. That was a big amount of gold right there that I just saw for that kill on the Ninja. Maybe I was wrong about the shutdowns, but I have never seen them before. But I think I just saw 1,500 gold kill go over there. Not sure if I saw that correctly. Maybe the 1,500 gold was for the objective, and the little graphic for the gold just came up super late or something. But we will get to see the minion buff in this game. Our Berserker playing aggressively here. 1 hit away from a kill onto the Lancer. I don't think he'll be able to find it. The mid tower does go down with help from the buffed up minions. Our Berserker is in their base, destroys one of the Nexus turrets. The camera isn't showing him. Really hectic fight. He does go down. Really aggressive positioning. Our Monk is only level 3, guys, as opposed to their Swordsman, who's their support, level 6. Our bot lane, level 3 and level 3. I think that's going to be a big problem for us if we aren't able to end the game on this push with the buffed up minions, as that buff does expire now. Ninja is going in 1v4. I don't think this is going to work for him. Ogre is getting some of his items, guys. He does... Oh, he went for a damage item, actually. But he is going to start to ramp up a little bit. And I am worried we might kind of end up throwing this game a little bit, especially if our bot lane doesn't get some more levels. Levels do lead to a ton of stats and power difference in the game. We still have the gold lead, but... And I think I have our our team fights in the late game set to passive, but things like this where our Berserker's just running in 1v5 does kind of have me a little bit nervous. Only one more auto attack, isn't able to find it, and now he's kind of just behind enemy lines. Let's see if it goes okay for him. He's hitting the Ogre. I think he's going to go down, though. He's kind of just by himself. Only one more hit. There he goes down again. Not the greatest game from Jackie Love. And Ninja, at this stage in the game, his high base damages are starting to get evened out by some of the items on the enemy team. He does get a kill there, though. He is going for another tower dive. Finds the kill onto Fighter. Oh my goodness, he's stunned under tower. Finds another kill onto... Does he have lifesteal somewhere in his items? He does. There's a 20% lifesteal on his Blood Reaver. That's why he's able to go under the tower, building a second lifesteal item as well. So I kind of don't feel as bad about him constantly tower diving all these melee champions under their towers. We do get the buff for a second time in the game, and typically that means GG. I don't think I've ever seen someone lose while getting the Morguard twice in a game. There's the last hit onto the Nexus. A shaky game from us, but another big carry from Ninja. Getting double lifesteal items means that he could just dive under the enemy towers non-stop. Didn't have to worry about getting CC'd and taking a bunch of damage. He would just heal it back up. And guys, the fountain in this game, where the enemy spawns, doesn't actually deal damage like in most MOBA games. Like in League, if you dive the fountain where the enemy spawns, it does a ton of damage really, really quickly. That doesn't exist in this game. So you can just dive their spawn and just kind of kill them and take no damage. So we saw that a little bit from Ninja. A good win for the boys. That team was a decent team. I was worried that our bot lane was going to kind of drag us down in that game. I set them to intervene with the jungle a little bit, so maybe it's kind of best to have at least one of them set to, you know, pressuring the lane so they can get a bunch of levels. Something to consider for next time. The Archer wasn't really a big factor in this game. Something I didn't really notice while it was happening, but just kind of supplemental damage every now and then. They did get a solo kill onto the Lancer in the early game. I remember that, but that was the only kill they really got the whole game. It was kind of just Ninja doing everything. Berserker was fighting behind enemy lines a ton. He was causing some chaos for sure. All right, Cloud says, let me introduce you to solo rank. So they do have a theoretical solo queue ladder with characters that are most played for the respective players. Here you can check the results of your player's solo rank and rankings by server. Solo rank differs from professional matches, so a player's solo rank performance doesn't directly correlate with their skill level. But high-scoring players in solo rank may have great potential. All right, something to think about. I don't think we have any players on here. This is the America server. Noxious Puff, Jackie Love, Metal Kim, and Barrel. So who's our highest rated player? It looks like Noxious is our highest rated player. He plays Monk, Pyro, and Priest top lane in solo queue. Pretty interesting champion pool there. I think that those champion pools have to be like randomized to some extent. All right, we have a new champion, Heavy Infantry. This is a tank character, and it has an ability similar to Poppy, where he kind of wields a hammer and knocks someone up into the air, like Poppy from League of Legends. Pretty good character, if I say so myself. I've played him 3 or 4 times, and most of the time, just functioned as a tank. Normally, you would normally expect, where he did low to medium damage, but offered a lot of CC. But I did have one game where I played him mid lane, and he actually led the entire lobby in damage and did like 12,000 damage or something crazy. So I'm curious to kind of get more into the weeds with this character and test it out a little bit more. I think it could be one of the best tanks in the game. So really looking forward to trying this one out more. But that will be one that we do in the next episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This is a little bit of a longer one today, but we got into 5v5s. The games are inherently going to last a little bit longer in the 5v5, so I will presume that the episodes will last a little bit longer as well. I don't think we have too many episodes left. Maybe like 3 or 4 more episodes left. There's only going to be about 5 or 6 more matches left in the demo, if I remember correctly. But looking forward to it, guys, and kind of wrapping this one up and playing the full game whenever it's released. Loving it so far. All right, guys, this has been LettucePlate. I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.